Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. There is a ridiculously underrated SMG in Warzone right now that is so much better than you might think. We are talking about the Sten. This is an SMG that really has never had its true time to shine here in Warzone, and I really wonder why, because it's honestly a very good SMG. We've talked about it several times before in various different metas where we had other broken SMGs and the Sten was just right there. And now we're at a point where the SMG category is very well balanced. There are some very good options and there are some super competitive options, and the Sten is there sort of in the middle, being slept on completely. So today I want to break down the best TTK loadout, compare it to other weapons, and of course give you guys the best loadout as well. So we are here on True Game Data. As always, shout out to Tony for putting in the work and getting us this information. First things first, let's just look at Sten builds, because there's a few here that you might, look at the created class and say, okay, maybe I should be using this. And I'm here to tell you which one you really should be using. So first build, recoil. Well, actually, they all have recoil booster here, but the difference basically is the barrels. Every one of these three builds here has recoil booster in the 50 round drums. The 50 round drums is not the best TTK magazine, but it's the only true viable and practical one. The other ones are just too small for anything outside of solos. 36 rounds, I think, is the max. You just can't be using that in duos, trios, quads. It's not reliable enough. It just doesn't make the weapon competitive whatsoever. The 50 round drums is pretty much your only option there, and it works for what it is. It's kind of big and kind of bulky, so it might block your screen a little bit, but if you want to use this Sten, that's something you have to look past. Same deal with how the Owen did that back when that was a top tier meta gun, so it's just something you have to get past. But really, the only change here is the barrel. There's three options here: the rapid, so best fire rate; short for best movement and best ADS; and then the 348 for best control. It's like that sort of sniper support barrel, if you will. And when we look at the TTKs here, obviously combination shots, there's no real story. It's very obvious when you build these out which one is the go-to, and that is the rapid barrel. It's going to have the most shaky bounce and shaky recoil, but it's also going to be the one that is going to be the most competitive. You might look at this graph and say, oh, well, the short barrel is not all that far behind, but wait till you see that compared to the other top tier SMGs here in just a moment. To me, rapid barrel is the no-brainer choice here, and while it does have a little bit more recoil than the short build or the sniper support build, which really its TTK is not great at all, it's something you can easily work on with other attachments on there, so that's not really a huge concern. So now let's compare this to a bunch of other meta SMGs. So I got the rapid barrel build and the short barrel build both here versus the meta MP40 build, the meta Vanguard PPSH build, the meta Blixen build, and the meta Armaguerra build for TTK. And we get some interesting stories here. So through the first 10 meters, nothing is coming all that close to the Armaguerra and the PPSH. Those are both great, but that's only 10 meters. And if you go in game and you ping what 10 meters is, you'll realize that you're not really fighting at that distance hardly ever. It is so close to another player. Very few times are you that close to somebody unless you're getting, a finish on a down or a knocked player. So like that is not the most important area. Obviously it's an SMG, so you want to be close to them, but that's not like the end all be all. You'll notice though, after those 10 meters, our orange line here, which is that rapid barrel Sten build, is right there with everything basically. From, 10 meters to about 16 here, a nice little SMG area there. Best TTK, not particularly close with the Blixen and the Arma, which are right there behind you. You notice the PPSH drops off pretty fast here at 11 meters, and it's not until, the 25 meter mark where the Sten and the PPSH are basically equal yet again. So something very important to take note of. Now the Blixen here, it's just spicy. That's what it is. It also has a little bit more recoil because we're going for the TTK build, but this orange line really is the primary focus here, and the fact that through, 35 meters, whereas that's like the prime SMG end range, I would say, like 40-50 meters, that's not really SMG usable territory. Like that's not where you're trying to fight with those. So anything beyond 35 here, not all that important, which is obviously behind the face cam, so it doesn't matter anyways. But this 35 meter line here, you can see it's the third best leading up to this. Very small difference versus the PPSH, and in my opinion, I think it's easier to use than the Blixen in a lot of ways. So it absolutely is holding its own, yet it's not getting used all that much. Now also, quick side note here, you'll notice our strafe build here with the short barrel, slow as TTK up close to the first 13 meters or so, and it drops off pretty severely. Not really a super close competition. It looks like it's a lot closer to the rapid barrel build when you just compare those two, but then you add in everything else and you realize if you're using that barrel, you're definitely not getting the best out of this gun and getting the most out of this gun. The rapid setup is the way to go. Also, if you want to see some wild stats here on Warzone Ranked, look at the Sten's pick rate. You'll notice not up here in like the 3%, the 2%, the 1%. It is all the way down here. I just scrolled past it at 0.20% pick rate. 0.2% of players are using the Sten right now. But if we change the criteria that this is sorting by, right now it's sorting by pick rate, you'll notice it's all the way down here. All of these weapons are picked more than the Sten. We sort it by KD. It's got the 5th highest KD when I'm recording this video right now, behind the Whitley, the Arma, the Gorenko, and the UGM. If we sort it by wins, it's got the 4th highest win rate in the game right now, behind the UGM, the Combat Shield, which is hilarious, and the Gorenko. So it's not being used, but players who are using this are doing incredibly well. That is the important stat to look at here. KD and win rate tell a lot about a weapon. Pick rate, not so much, because, you know, when players start to use a gun a ton, you'll notice that the KD and the win rate start to drop because casual players who aren't great sort of ruin the stat there. But when a gun like the Sten is used so little but doing so well, it says a lot about it. So let's talk the best loadout here. Obviously, as we saw in the graph, we're going for the recoil booster, the rapid barrel. As you can see, short is great for like a strafe build, but that TTK is just not it. 174, not really great for anything either. It's just a hip fire build and it's not going to do much for you. The burst barrel is an absolute hard pass, and 348, again, just awful TTK. Rapid, easily the way to go. Then for the magazine, as I mentioned, 36 is the 2nd largest here, and that's just not viable enough for anything practical, so 50 is the way to go. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of the iron sights on this build, just because with the added recoil that this barrel and build gives you, they bounce around a lot. It can be kind of hard to track players. So I go for the slate reflector, your nice basic easy red dot. It's nice and consistent. For the stock, you actually have several different options though. The para is going to be, I think, the most reliable, just better for sprint speed, better for movement speed. You're going to be nice and agile and aggressive with that. However, padded's not bad if you want a slightly slower build that's going to be easier to shoot with this. Also, the Guan Custom is great for strafe speed as well. Honestly, one that I would absolutely recommend if you're looking for a setup that's not necessarily the fastest for moving, but for strafing, it's solid. The other one's not really it. Folding is all right, but it's going to hurt the recoil even more, so I wouldn't go for that one personally. I think it's between Guan Custom and then also the para, so between those, pick your poison, right? For the underbarrel here, I actually end up going for steady because this is going to give you 2% better control in all directions and better hip fire. So no cons here, just nice, clean, straight to the point, easy to use. This thing's already fast and snappy as is, so you're all set there. Subsonic here to stay off the map per usual. For a rear grip, you certainly, again, have some choices. I think you mainly have 2. Taped is my go-to always because the better swap speed and the better movement speed, so that's personally my choice there. However, if you want better control, I think hatched is always a good choice too. Again, no cons, going to give you some good recoil control there to help out with your aim. So either or there. If you need better control, go for hatched. If you are fine with the control, go for tape so you can just fly and fry. Now for perk 1 here, again, you got some options that work well. I like acrobatic personally, but gung ho is not bad, sleight of hand is not bad, steady is not bad. I'm about the movement speed, so I go for that. Then perk 2, no brainer here. We always go for quick on that, but this setup in particular is so slept on. We saw the TTK stats. The thing fries. This thing also moves quick. It is nice and aggressive, nice and agile. Would highly recommend trying this setup out and seeing what all is going on with it. See if you like it, because you might find your new favorite SMG. That being said, that's going to wrap things up for this one. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video, give it a big old thumbs up. It does really help grow the channel. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe with those noties turned on, because every day I got you covered with the best weapons, the latest news and updates, the new leaks, everything going on in COD. You'll find it right here. But again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.